Wednesday, February 24th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, bringing you the latest local news, including a suspicious man being sought by Stratford police and the cause of a serious house fire in Milford. Mike Suppy joins us later with local sports, and Donald Ang will take a look back on this day in history. But first, in an update on a story we brought you yesterday, there's a plea agreement on the table in the case of Christopher Plaskin, accused of murdering classmate Marin Sanchez at Jonathan Law High School in April of 2014. But as of Tuesday, the defense and prosecution have not come to an agreement on that proposal, and Plaskin's case has been continued to March 7th. The Milford Mirror reports that a packed courtroom on Tuesday suggested people expected there might be a decision, a plea agreement, or a move toward a trial. But State's Attorney Kevin Lawler said discussions are continuing. Lawler told Judge John Ronan that the state would like to see the offer previously made remain on the table. Plaskin's attorney, Edward Gavin, agreed to the continuance. Speaking outside the courtroom to reporters later, Gavin said he could not discuss the nature of the plea proposal. Both sides agree that a decision will be made at a March 7th court hearing. There will be either acceptance or rejection of the proposal. If the proposal is rejected, the case will go to trial. Gavin said outside the courthouse that they will either work it out at the next court date or the case will be placed on the trial list. At a court appearance in December, Plaskin's attorneys were given medical reports from evaluations that the prosecution had requested. Plaskin's mental health at the time of the murder is key, his attorneys said. Plaskin has pled not guilty to the charge of murder, and his lawyers said in the past they expected the plea would be based on one of three forms of an insanity plea. And in other news today, a man in a dark-colored vehicle is being sought by Stratford police after a teenage girl told officers he asked if she wanted a ride. Police said a 13-year-old girl was on Cut Spring Road near Pumpkin Ground Road at about 12:30 yesterday when she was approached by an unknown male in a dark-colored car, possibly a gray Honda. Police said the man allegedly asked the girl if she wanted a ride. The girl ran home and told her mother, who immediately contacted police. Officers later patrolled the area but could not find the man or the vehicle. New Canaan police are investigating a stolen car and numerous break-ins overnight. Police were called to East Avenue for a report of a car that was stolen and another car that was entered overnight. In a few of reports, car owners are saying that the inside of the broken-into vehicle smells like a person was smoking inside. Earlier this morning, police were called to Jelliff Mill Road, Brushy Ridge Road, and Glen Drive to investigate reports of cars at residences that had been broken into. Items have been taken from the cars, according to dialogue between police officers heard over the radio scanner. But you can follow more on that story at ncadvertiser.com. In Milford, improper use of an extension cord to power a microwave oven was the cause of a fire last week on Milford Point Road. According to Fire Battalion Chief Anthony Fabrizi, the cord had been placed under carpets and through a door jamb, causing undue wear to the cord, which in turn ignited the blaze. No one was injured in the single-family house fire at 334 Milford Point Road last Thursday, February 18th, but fire officials say the house suffered considerable damage. Firefighters encountered heavy smoke and fire while making an aggressive interior attack with a hose line. The residence suffered extensive damage and is unlivable, even though the fire was brought under control quickly. The occupants were not home at the time of the fire, and no injuries have been reported. Fairfield University officials are planning a forum to discuss racial issues on campus in the wake of the ghetto-themed party that happened off campus. Saturday's party at a beach house in the affluent Bridgeport suburb near the private Jesuit school reportedly included white students in blackface or wearing temporary gang tattoos and other ghetto attire. School spokesman Teddy DeRosa said that they have confirmed there was a ghetto theme, but they have not confirmed that there were any students in blackface or in brown makeup. They said they've seen no photographic evidence, and none of the students interviewed have mentioned anything of the sort. She said university officials are in the process of determining whether any students will face discipline. About 73% of Fairfield's 4,000 undergraduate students are white, while just over 2% are black and 7% are Latino, according to statistics from the U.S. Department of Education. And in Darien, a burglary alarm captured an accidental break-in. A Darien resident received an alert from his alarm company on February 15th reporting that his Hickory Lane home had been broken into. Logging into security cameras remotely, the man was able to see several men carrying boxes around the home, and he promptly called police. A number of Darien police officers arrived at the scene to discover a white van and 3 men standing outside of the home. The 3 men were ordered to the ground and handcuffed while police investigated the reported break-in. The accused men told police they were there to install window shutters at the house and had contacted their boss when the alarm went off. Their boss confirmed that he had accidentally given the crew the wrong address. One crew member had previously done work at the home and had used an old garage passcode to gain access. The homeowner corroborated the crew's story, remembering that he had indeed hired the company in the past. No arrests were made, and the homeowner told police that he would be changing the garage code upon his return. Switching gears now and taking a quick look at the forecast. Cloudy and windy and rainy today with a high of 55 degrees possible. The National Weather Service has issued a hazardous weather outlook for southern Connecticut. There is potential for isolated damaging wind gusts late this evening into early Thursday morning, with showers and thunderstorms along and ahead of a cold front. There could be some localized flooding in areas with poor drainage, and storms tonight could produce some small hail and gusty winds. Tomorrow, temps are still a bit warmer than normal at 49 degrees for the high, but things will be getting cold again Thursday night. Well, we're going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Eng's going to take a look back on this day in history. Mike Seppi joins us for sports, and we have more news coming up after this.
Had a sports injury that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist quickly. Their highly trained orthopedic professionals expertly treat you without an appointment. Skiing, snowboard, or sports accident, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk. Call 203-845-2070 or coastalorthoexpress.com. Find them on Facebook at Coastal Ortho CT.
Darien Sports Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sports Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
It's the new year. The to-do list is long and it's easy to feel pulled in many directions at once. Your professional personal shoppers at Walter Stewart's are ready to check groceries off your list by shopping for you. Save extra time this year and spend it doing more important things. Great food and wine delivered to your home with the same-day service. Shop Stewart's online at stewartsmarket.com.
When it comes to local entertainment, we've got it all.
From movies, local artists, etiquette, and more.
Watch HAN Arts and Leisure every Thursday at 2 on the HAN Network.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network. The 2016 FCAC playoffs are coming to the HAN Network. We'll have all of the big games beginning February 23rd on the court and on the ice. And we'll have it all live and streaming HD. This is your home for the 2016 FCAC Winter Championships. The HAN Network.
Back on this Wednesday, February 24th edition of your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski. It's time to throw it to Donald Eng, who's going to take a look back on this day in history.
Well, Kate, was it a false alarm or a UFO invasion or something else entirely? But first we're going to go to 1582 with the papal bull Inter Gravissimus. Pope Gregory XIII announces the Gregorian calendar. It was a reform of the earlier Julian calendar so that 3 seasonal happenings necessary to calculate the date of Easter would be restored to the days they would have occupied during the Council of Nicaea 1,200 years earlier. The Earth takes slightly more than 365 days to orbit the Sun. The calendar had drifted, and the Pope had to remove 10 days from the calendar and make a couple of other changes. More on those Monday, February 29th. Hint. 1868, Andrew Johnson, the first president of the United States to be impeached by the House of Representatives. He was later acquitted in the Senate. The impeachment was over his vetoes of congressional bills aimed at striking down anti-black laws in the Reconstructing South. Not surprisingly, most historians consider Johnson among the worst U.S. presidents ever. 1989, the Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini offers a $3 million bounty for the death of Salman Rushdie, author of the Satanic Verses. Partially inspired by the life of Muhammad, the title refers to these so-called Satanic Verses, a group of Quranic verses that allow intercessory prayers to be made to the three pagan goddesses of Mecca. They are Alat, Uzza, and Manat. Some Muslims consider the book to be mocking their faith, resulting in several assassination attempts. Despite conciliatory statements from Iran in 1998 and Rushdie's declaration that he will no longer live in hiding, the Iranian state reports that the fatwa remains in place permanently, since they can only be rescinded by the person who issued them, and the Ayatollah Khomeini has died. Finally, now we go to 1942. The Battle of Los Angeles looked like this.
We take you to Los Angeles and the report of Byron Palmer. Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific wartime this morning. The anti-aircraft guns began barking during a blackout ordered by the 4th Interceptor Command at 2:25 a.m. The unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a blimp, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach. Army officials declined to comment on the possibility that the object might have been a blimp. However, it required nearly 30 minutes to travel some 25 miles, far slower than an airplane.
A false alarm, or possibly a blimp or wayward weather balloon, caused a blackout and subsequent artillery barrage in Los Angeles late on the night of the 24th into the morning of the 25th. Anti-aircraft gunners fired nearly 1,500 12-pound artillery shells into the night sky, plus countless smaller rounds. The barrage damaged buildings and vehicles and indirectly caused 5 deaths from traffic accident and heart attacks due to being awoken by artillery fire. The Battle of Los Angeles, 1942, on this date. That is your look back in history, and I am Donald Ling.
Thanks, Don. You know, I couldn't help but think when you mentioned the Salman Rushdie thing, he was just at Staples High School a couple of months ago. There was that huge fear, you know, some folks were really concerned about safety, but the event ended up going off.
And you know what's funny is that he himself has said that that the fatwa has harmed his career, but not in the way you think, because his books tend to be sort of amusing, and they have like these kind of like double meanings and humor in them, but everyone now thinks that they're not what they are. Everyone thinks that they're these weighty tomes of historical theology, and they're actually nothing of the sort. So, yeah, it's an interesting read if you ever. It's hard to find.
I was actually upset I missed the event at Staples High School.
Yeah, well, it's hard to find the book now, but it is an interesting read if you ever get around to it.
All right, well, thanks so much, Don. Getting back to a little more news today, 2 cars and 1 home were broken into in Reading last week. Police Chief Douglas Fuchs again is asking residents to regularly lock all cars and homes and to set their alarm systems if they have one. There's been a large increase in burglaries regionally over the last 4 months. The 2 vehicles were broken into on Poverty Hollow Road. Both cars were unlocked. One was rummaged through and nothing was missing. The second had about $1,500 worth of clothing and hiking supplies stolen. A home was broken into on Cross Highway sometime around Sunday, February 21st. An intruder entered the unoccupied house by smashing a second-story window, but according to police, nothing appeared to be missing from the home. But we're going to throw it over to Mike Suppi, who's filling in today for Rob Adams. Mike, welcome back.
Thanks, Kate. Well, with most of the schedule wiped out yesterday due to inclement weather, we start today with the FCAC girls hockey, where the HEN network will be at the Darien ice rink for the FCAC girls semifinals. In the opening game of the doubleheader, number 2 seed New Canaan tangles with 3rd seeded Ridgefield at 6 p.m. That's followed by the nightcap scheduled for 7:40, where top seeded Darien will lock horns with number 4 seed Stanford West Hill Staples. The girls' basketball semifinals will also be contested tonight at Fairfield Ludlow after last night's postponement. Game 1 will feature number 2 seed Stanford taking on 3rd seeded Trumbull High at 6. At 7:30, Ward faces 4th seeded Ridgefield with a spot in Friday's final on the line. Speaking of finals, the Southern Connecticut Conference girls basketball finals will be held tonight at East Haven High, with Mercy taking on Daniel Hand at 7 p.m. in a rematch of last year's final. Staying on the hardwood in the FCAC, boys basketball matchups, which are all at 7 p.m. with playoff implications on the line. Ludlow is at McMahon, Ridgefield is at Stanford, Darien is at Trumbull, New Canaan at Greenwich, Staples at Danbury, St. Joe's visits Trinity Catholic, West Hill travels to Bridgeport to take on Central, and Norwalk is in Wilton. Over in the SWC, Bunnell hosts Massac High at 7 p.m. in a game rescheduled from last night. The FCAC Diving Championships will also be held this afternoon at West Hill and Stanford, starting at 4:30 p.m. Skating back over the ice, boys ice hockey, St. Joe's faces off with McMahon Norwalk at the Sono Ice House at 3 p.m. Brookfield Bethel Danbury travels to Milford to take on the Indians at 4:15. And finally, East Catholic takes on Notre Dame of Fairfield at 6 p.m. With sports, I'm Mike Suppy.
All right, thanks so much, Mike. Well, getting back to a little more news today, State Representatives Jason Perillo, Ben McGorty, Laura Hoydick, J.P. Strzynski, and State Senator Kevin Kelly will be hosting a community discussion on Connecticut's opioid addiction crisis on March 3rd in Shelton. The communities of Shelton, Derby, and Stratford have all experienced difficult tragedies recently involving opioid abuse. Monroe, like other neighboring communities, is experiencing a rise in opioid abuse, and the legislator from these three communities are partnering with Shelton Mayor Mark Loretti, Stratford Mayor John Harkins, and Monroe First Selectman Steve Vavrick in sponsoring the event focused on those communities. The forum will feature an organized discussion that includes Mayor Mark Loretti, First Selectman Vavrick, and Stratford Police Chief Patrick Reidenhauer, as well as Youth Service Bureau's Tamara Trojanowski, and testimonials from area residents who are in recovery. Figures from the Office of the State Medical Examiner indicate that accidental drug deaths from all types are at an all-time high across the state, more than doubling since 2012. The free event will be held in the R.D. Cinto Auditorium at One Corporate Drive in Shelton on Thursday, March 3rd from 7 to 9 at night. It's open to the public. And Trumbull police officers R.J. Carlson and Gregory Lee, along with their Trumbull police canines Cyrus and Storm, began national certified level classes in November and completed their training on February 12th. And thanks to the hard work, the officers and the canines have received both national and state of Connecticut certifications in building searches, evidence recovery, criminal apprehension, rural and urban tracking, and advanced tactical operations, as well as a certification in narcotics detection. Officers were required to meet proficiency standards throughout the training, which continues with refresher training on a monthly basis. The specialized training has already produced results. In 2 separate incidents in 2016, drugs were detected by both canines. And in other news today, the Ridgefield Visiting Nurse Association has opened its new headquarters at 27 Governor Street, which is now open for business, having moved from the Venus Municipal Building on East Ridge in Ridgefield. The new quarters allow the RVNA to offer additional services, including physical therapy and nutrition education and counseling. There is also expanded space for staff training and development in its clinical competency lab. But you can get more on that at theridgefieldpress.com. We're going to step out for another break. When we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories we're following today on your coffee break after this.
Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. If that's the case, keep one thing in mind. It's always summer at the dock shop. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. The dock shop is not your average bait and tackle store. They offer a wide array of products, including apparel, jewelry, home furnishings, and some flat-out cool stuff, all with a nautical theme, most made in the USA. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Here at the Darien Sport Shop, we are very excited about our newly redesigned men's department. Gentlemen, if you're shopping for work, weekend, or wedding, we've got the latest styles and trends inside our spacious new department just for you. We have vast selections from Peter Millar, Vineyard Vines, Johnny O, Duckhead, Barber, and so much more. And you can even walk out of the store in the new Wolverine 1,000-mile men's boot. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Well, there's still a bite.
We're back on this Wednesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today, including on an update that we brought you on a story that we brought you yesterday. There's a plea agreement on the table in the case of Christopher Plaskin, who is accused of murdering his classmate Marin Sanchez at Jonathan Law High School in April 2014. But as of Tuesday, the defense and prosecution have not come to an agreement on that proposal, and Plaskin's case has been continued to March 7th. The Milford Mirror reports that a packed courtroom on Tuesday suggested people expected there might be a decision, whether it be a plea agreement or a move toward trial. But State's Attorney Kevin Lawler said discussions are ongoing. Lawler told Judge John Ronan that the state would like to see the offer previously made remain on the table. Plaskin's attorney, Edward Gavin, agreed to the continuance. Speaking outside the courtroom to reporters later, Gavin said he could not discuss the nature of the plea proposal. Both sides agreed that a decision will be made at a March 7th court hearing. There will either be an acceptance or a rejection of the proposal. Gavin said outside the courthouse that they will either work it out at the next court date or the case will be placed on the trial list at that time. At a court appearance in December, Plaskin's attorneys were given medical reports from evaluations that the prosecution had requested. Plaskin's mental health at the time of the murder is key, according to his attorneys. He has pled not guilty to a charge of murder, and his lawyers said in the past that they expected the plea would be based on one of 3 forms of an insanity plea. And in Stratford, a man in a dark-colored vehicle is being sought by Stratford police after a teenage girl told officers he asked if she wanted a ride. Police said a 13-year-old girl was on Cut Spring Road near Pumpkin Ground Road at about 12:30 yesterday when she was approached by an unknown male in a dark-colored car, possibly a gray Honda. Police said the man allegedly asked the girl if she wanted a ride. The girl ran home and told her mother, who immediately contacted police. Officers later patrolled the area but could not find the man or the vehicle. In New Canaan, police are investigating a stolen car and numerous break-ins overnight. The Advertiser reports that police were called to East Avenue for a report of a car that was stolen and another car that had been entered. In a few of the reports, car owners are saying that the inside of the broken-into vehicle smells like a person was smoking inside of it. Earlier this morning, police were also called to Jelliff Mill Road, Brushy Ridge Road, and Glen Drive to investigate reports of cars at residences that had been broken into overnight, and items were taken from the cars. And in Milford, improper use of an extension cord to power a microwave oven was the cause of a fire last week on Milford Point Road. According to Fire Battalion Chief Anthony Fabrizi, the cord had been placed under carpets and through a door jamb, causing undue wear to the cord, which in turn ignited the blaze. No one was injured in the single-family house fire at 334 Milford Point Road on last Thursday, but fire officials say the house suffered considerable damage. Firefighters encountered heavy smoke and fire while making an aggressive interior attack with a hose line. They said the residence suffered extensive damage and is unlivable, even though the fire was brought under control very quickly. The occupants were not home at the time of the fire and no injuries were reported. And Fairfield University officials are planning a forum to discuss racial issues on campus in the wake of a ghetto-themed off-campus party. Saturday's party at a beach house in the affluent Bridgeport suburb near the private Jesuit school reportedly included white students in blackface or wearing temporary gang tattoos, chains, and other, quote, ghetto attire. School spokesman Teddy DeRosa said they have confirmed that there was a ghetto theme, but they have not confirmed that there were any students in blackface or brown makeup. They've seen no photographic evidence of that, and none of the students interviewed have mentioned anything of the sort. She said university officials are in the process of determining whether any students will face discipline. And in some lighter news, if you've ever wanted to make your own maple syrup, New Pond Farm in Reading can teach you how. On Saturday, February 27th at 11 at the farm, which is located at 101 Marchant Road, Pete Lopick will teach a class on this sweet process and review the materials needed in backyard production. Be sure to dress for the outdoors. It will be a bit colder this weekend. Registration is required. You can go to newpondfarm.org or call 203-938-2117. The cost to attend is $10 per New Pond Farm family members or $15 per non-member families. And taking another quick look at the forecast, cloudy, windy, and rainy today, a high of 55 degrees possible. The National Weather Service has issued a hazardous weather outlook for southern Connecticut. There is potential for isolated, damaging wind gusts late this evening and into early Thursday morning, with showers and thunderstorms along and ahead of a cold front. Some localized flooding is possible in areas with poor drainage. Storms tonight could also produce small hail and gusty winds. Tomorrow, temps remain a bit higher than normal, with a high of 49 expected, but things will be getting cold again on Thursday night. We'll be getting ready for that. But we're going to wrap things up on your coffee break. Coming up at 12:30 today, CT Pulse, hosted by myself and Josh Fisher. We interviewed earlier this week State Senate Majority Leader Bob Duff. Great conversation there, so check that out coming up at 12:30. And of course, Nutmeg Sports at 2. But that's going to do it for your coffee break. We'll be back tomorrow at 11. Have a great Wednesday.